What's up, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of the podcast. My name is Robbie Cassidy, and on this episode, we're going to look at some patterns that I've noticed in clients that I'm working with at the moment. And these clients, I guess you could consider them as high achievers or high performers. And the reason I say that is because they're working in high stress environments. They're athletes, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're engineers, and everything across the board, from chefs to absolutely anything you can imagine. But what I want to talk about here is the cost and the benefit of being that. Okay, because being a high performer and a high achiever comes with that cost benefit. You have to understand that. There's a love for perfection and there's a chase for productivity. But the thing is that we need to realize that for some people who are high octane, go all the time, there's downsides to this as well. And I want to highlight some of the patterns so that if you notice any of these patterns in yourself, you don't exactly have to be smashing everything. But I mean, if you're somebody who's high energy and you go from A to B, always looking to get things done, this episode is absolutely for you. So I wanted to go into it because there's patterns here that are adopted and they develop over time, but then they start to become a big problem. And what happens is we get in this state of a chase for productivity, wanting to always achieve something or have a favorable outcome, achieve goals. And this can add up. You'd be surprised. We push and we push and we push, and you run from one thing to the next. And it actually leaves little time in the middle for exploration or creativity. But there is a, how would you say, there is a feeling of fulfillment and purpose out of doing this. And it might be in work, it might be in training, whatever it is for you. But we keep nearly like a schedule. You know what days you're working, what days you're training, what you're going to be doing on those days. And there's always a pressure that people put on themselves to perform. Now, in the last week, I've been talking to multiple clients and very, very clear, let's say, what you would count as in the realm of a high achiever is people with PhDs, people who are lecturers, psychologists, who are working at who are lawyers, working at the top end. And a huge part of the work that we do is we try to isolate these patterns and we try to build on them, because what you're first off looking to do is, if you can understand the pattern, you can make light changes. Because anyone that's coming to me is dealing with this back pain or chronic injury, low energy, sleep problems, basically focus problems. There's a lot of things that come alongside that, and you can see how there's patterns that develop within this. And there's a huge issue with many of the quote unquote the high achievers that I would work with. A huge part of the work that we do has to be around isolating patterns. And the thing is that they're absolutely excellent at getting work done, disciplined, focused, motivated, if you want to use that word, but often struggle to get out of this state. And this is what I want to cover today, because in a nutshell, high performers will break down when they lose their ability to flexibly shift between this high arousal and this deep recovery state. And it's not the stress that hurts them, it's actually just getting stuck in this one gear that really impacts on them. Now, to understand this, we have to understand how the nervous system works and states of the nervous system work before we go on. So I'm going to explain it to you really quickly. This is exactly how I explain it to clients, because I'm trying to simplify it in the time that we have so that they can understand it and then they can start to apply it. So if you think about yourself and you think about your nervous system, you have two states, basically. You have a sympathetic and a parasympathetic state. Okay? Sympathetic state is a rest and digest, or what would be considered a rest and digest. And that's when healing happens. And then the parasympathetic is what would be considered a fight or flight. It's an aroused state. And that's when the energy in your body is put into mobilization and movement. So you can't be in both at the same time. This is really important to understand. There is no point in trying to heal an injured shoulder as you run away from a pride of lions. Because if you get caught, you're done. That's it. Game over. So the energy in your body all needs to be put into this aroused, high activity state where you're working on movement and you're working on mobilization. Then when you chill, you can bring it back down. You get away, you survive. You can bring it back down again, and you can start to focus on the shoulder, and all that energy can go from moving to relaxing, where it goes into your body and it starts to heal certain areas. And you can think of it on a dial from 0 to 10. This is why people who are in chronically stressed states get chronic illnesses, because the body is so stuck in this state. Now, this is a simplified way of doing it, but it's so stuck in this state of performing and being ready to run or be ready to move or be in a really aroused state that it doesn't have time to heal the arteries, heal the nerves, heal the muscles, heal the tendons, heal the bones, and things start to break down. So if we think of it on a dial from 0 to 10, 10 is a panic attack and 0 is sleep. And when you're at 0, that's a rest and digest. And when you think of 10, that's your fight or flight and max. Now, the issue here with being stuck in this performance mindset all of the time is that you actually get stuck in this state of trying to control everything around you. And it's a funny one, because stress, you could define stress in a way that it means that you aren't in control of something, because stress is a perception, remember. So it's your perception of control. But when you're stuck in this state that you're trying to control everything all the time, if anything changes lightly, it can drive a lot more anxiety. But to stay in that state, you have to be really, really ready to move, to be ready to go all of the time. And so that means that you have to be kind of tending towards the fight or flight. Now, the issue is that we get stuck in this state because we're trying to be productive and we're trying to be goal orientated, which is how you get to that state in the first place. That's the funny thing, is like, that is how you get to the high achiever place initially. But because there's no time is ever wasted, it means that you're going to tend to be in this energy mobilizing state for longer periods of time. Now, to achieve all of this, it's probably not something that you just switched on overnight. It's probably something that has developed over time. And over time, if you continue to, let's say your mindset stays in that goal orientated, be productive, I need to be getting stuff done, I need to achieve. What will happen is that bigger problems start to arise. And this is why I mentioned the symptoms at the start. So you're going to see that your sleep becomes disturbed. Your mood changes quite significantly. And you have no energy to do anything because you're constantly burning. And what will then happen, this is where people come to me, is you'll notice that pain starts to kick up. And there's a lot of reasons for this. There's a sensitivity side of it, where the body's become really sensitive to everything around it, and it turns up your pain. So even small things hurt way more. And then there's the other side, where it's fatigue. You're just really tired. And like, as I say, when the battery of a car goes low, all of the lights on the dash are going to turn on. So this is when you start to kick up these chronic issues or chronic injuries, because you're on the opposite end of doing too much. And as a result, then the body's going to start getting tight. It's going to start getting sore. And what a lot of people deal with in this state, maybe it's you, maybe it's not you, is this health anxiety, where they start to notice things kicking up and it starts to ramp up their pain even more. And then they start to become a little bit more stressed out because they don't know what's causing the pain. They're starting to feel sick, they're low energy, they have all these symptoms. But really what's happening is that you're just getting stuck and they're just running low a small bit. Now, one thing I absolutely love about the body is its ability to adapt. You put it in a position where you want to improve on something, and over time, with consistency, you're going to get more efficient at doing that. The simplest one is running. If you want to start running, you go out, you might do 200 meters on, 200 meters off, walking, jogging, and you build it up. Then you get to 1K, and you start to run for 1K all continuously. Then you go to 1.5, and you go to 2. You go to 2, then you jump up to 3. And you're noticing that each time you go out and run, you come back and recover, that the next run starts to become a little bit easier because we start to become more efficient. Cardiovascular system becomes more efficient. Our respiratory system becomes more efficient. The muscles coordinate the movement a little better. There's so many little adjustments that happen in the body to allow this state to become more efficient overall. Because that's what we do. That's adaptation at the core. And a huge part of the work that we do, I guess, with clients who are dealing with back pain or who are dealing with chronic injuries, who want to get back to exercise, who want pain to stop controlling them, and who want to become the boss of their body again, is we are trying to cultivate this adaptation in certain spheres. But the thing is, when you look at this high performer, high achiever mindset, oftentimes if you don't check it, adaptation starts to work against you. And what happens is that you train so much to be in this energy mobilizing state that we begin to lose our ability to turn down, our ability to get into a healing state. And the flexibility that we once had to shift between this arousal and recovery state is dampened. Now, when you look at high performance athletes, military, a lot of these people train to get into both states because there's nothing wrong with being in high arousal, fight or flight. Let's not have a negative connotation to that. Okay, I don't want to have a connection there that people just straight away think fight or flight is a bad thing. It's really good. It's excellent. It's why you can perform. It's what you want to be able to do. But you need to get back down again. You need to be able to turn yourself down. Think about it like a rubber band, where you can apply tension to a rubber band, and then when you let it go, it snaps back into this flexible rubber, this resting state. But that doesn't mean you can't apply tension again. But if you get stuck in a state all of the time that you need to achieve this, need to get this thing done, I'm just going to take one more thing or one more task, what will happen is you train your system to be stuck in like hard plastic. It's stuck in this state of constant that even if you pull it, if you pull it enough, it'll break. At a resting state, it still has a lot of tension in it. Now, when I talk about that, it brings me to this very recent conversation that I had with a client about changing the nature of our system. And we were looking at the patterns that were cropping up. And one of them was that on the rest days or recovery days that we had planned out, she was really struggling with getting into this resting state. And she asked me, this is obviously something that's been around for a while. She was saying that if it's been around since she was a child, is it even possible to try to fix it? Which is a great question. You have to say, like, I think that it's like we always are looking to set expectations. So we opened the discussion of what are we actually trying to achieve? And the thing was, we're not trying to fix anything. You're not broken. Your body isn't broken. We're not trying to fix it. We're just looking to give it a few more options. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to improve nervous system flexibility to give more time for healing so that you can, when you rest, come back down into that state. And you don't always have to be stuck in the state of trying to control everything, trying to be productive, trying to achieve. So we're looking to just give you a little bit more flexibility around that. And then over time, that becomes easier because we are changing the pattern of being stuck and rigid within a stuck or rigid within a sympathetic tone where the dial is always on 7 or 8. And we're just looking to be able to get down to a 3, get down to a 2, a couple of times a week so that you can start to recover over time. And then you do it consistently, falls back on the principles of adaptation. the body will adapt and you'll get better at doing that. So how do we do it, you might ask? There are multiple ways, and it's really about finding what works best for the individual, because there'll be belief systems there that will need to be addressed. There'll be patterns of things that they enjoy doing and they feel like it's a rest and recovery for them. It might not fall in line with what we might consider rest and recovery, but for that specific person, individual characteristics, personality traits, they all come into play. And it's why in our Select program, the Select is our one-to-one, we take time to dive deep into this with everyone that we work with. We record patterns over weeks at a time. We identify them and we make little changes. And we go, you try it out and you come back again. And we see how you get on. And if we need to make adjustments, we do. If something's working, we double down. Simple as that. And obviously, because of the one-to-one nature of it, it's a lot more touch points, and the type of work that we do, where it's generally improving people's workout routines, getting them back into exercise in the first place, getting over these back pains or hip pains, shoulder pains, and just really helping you overcome the grip of pain so that you can focus on what matters most in your life. That's what we do. It's our most comprehensive program. We have other ones as well, but in the one-to-one, it is our most comprehensive. And because of the one-to-one nature of it, we're obviously going to take on a small number of people at a time, because you're going to be working with me specifically. Therefore, with the individual nature of working with people who are high achievers, high performers like this, you need to be smart with how you approach it, because oftentimes you give them something and they'll do it, but they'll do it to 100%. So sometimes when you look at this, it's actually about incorporating more structure and building rituals around the patterns that they already have. And the other side of it is, and this is why I say it's individual that makes the biggest difference, other times you need to actually unlearn control, relinquish that control, and allow more unstructured flow, time where you're just getting into a place that you're not focusing on trying to do anything or trying to achieve anything, or you're wasting time, literally wasting time, being bored. Can you imagine? And you imagine that this would be easy, but people really struggle with this, especially when you're high strung and you're in that state that you've been so practicing so long to get stuff done. This is a big, big challenge. So when you take a step back and you look at it, in a nutshell, from the top down, what we are looking at here, what I wanted to cover in this podcast, is that high performers often get stuck because they lose state flexibility, not just because they're burning too much energy. So they lose the ability to get from top down or downshift into a lower gear. And the work is not just to eliminate stress, but you're looking to expand range and expand adaptability of the nervous system. And that's why recovery is about training fluidity. It's about training that shift from the really high aroused state, fight or flight, sympathetic state, controlled state, like arousal, state of arousal, and just allowing yourself to get back down into a more relaxed state. And really, sometimes that's about letting go of the control. So that is really all I wanted to talk about today on this episode of the podcast. And I hope that it was able to open your eyes to some of the issues that go on and some of the patterns that you see. It's not just about doing more to fix. And then sometimes it is about having structure, but other times it's about letting go and giving yourself time to waste time and give yourself time to be bored as well, because you need that flexibility. And it's top of mind because of just it's really cropped up over the last couple of weeks now. It's obviously some of the clients that I work with are within that place that they are always looking to get things done and achieve and get fast results. And it's funny because sometimes on calls I just have to tell them, right, we need to chill out. We need to pull back. But very enjoyable because you don't change patterns too fast. You kind of identify them, you make little adjustments, you see what works. If it works, you double down. If it doesn't work, you take it back. Okay? Or you might adapt it slightly. And yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. If you are somebody who's dealing with this type of an issue, if you're finding that you have pain, discomfort, let's say health anxiety, if you're dealing with low energy constantly, if your sleep is disturbed, if you're somebody who finds that your day is dictated by the pain, well, reach out, get in contact. You can reach me at info@themobilitytutor.com, or you can contact me on Instagram at RobbieCassidy_. And we can chat about what to do or what you can do or how to work on this and how to improve it, and look at goals and objective setting. And then if you want to jump on board, if it's something that you're interested in, obviously the select program is only open at certain times. So once you email me, I'll let you know if it's open or not, or message me on Instagram. But we also have other programs available as well. So yeah, if you want to, shoot me a message. If you feel like you need to start getting your confidence back, start getting your exercise routine back, start enjoying your life and focus on what matters most in your life, whether that be your relationships, your family, your sports or your activities that you enjoy, your own personal time, I'm happy to help. And I look forward to chatting to you. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this episode, I would absolutely love if you could scroll up to the top and if you could rate it 5 stars. I would love if you could rate it 5 stars. I want to get it up to 1,000 5-star ratings. We're way off that right now, but slowly but surely, ticking away consistently. I would really, really appreciate if you could do that as well. And otherwise, I have started a YouTube channel. I'll drop links to it below and you can check it out, where I talk about my own story, what I learned about pain over the last couple of years, dealing with my own injuries, from an ACL tear with no surgery, getting back to playing football, to 2 bulging discs in my neck, getting back to jiu-jitsu and competition in jiu-jitsu as well. And I go into a lot of detail of what I've learned from that. I'll leave the link to that below and you can check it out. And lastly, I will leave the link below to our page where you can check out the testimonials of other people that have come through our program, and you can look to book a call if it's something that suits you. But that's all from me now. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you following along. Make sure to hit follow and subscribe as well. It's a big help. But yeah, that's everything. I'm actually happy now that I've been getting podcasts out more consistently again. I really enjoy it. I have to say, it's one of my favorite things to do. And it was nice to take a little bit of a break. But now, hopefully, we get a bit more consistency in this over time, even though this year is a crazy year for jumping around. But don't worry, people have gotten back to me. Let me know that this is something that they enjoy. If it's something you enjoy as well, reach out. Let me know what you want me to cover, and I will do my absolute best. But that is all from me right now. Thank you for listening, and I will chat to you all at the same time next week. Have a good one.